we are the one who hold the key to our cybersecurity, not technologies.
That's where we get the opportunity where it's not just hackers actually are being able to use your AI chatbots or things like that, your generative AI, as a means to try to attack you. Essentially, every single user of your platform potentially becomes a hacker.
Attackers don't care about internal politics, internal excuses, internal bureaucracies, they just attack.
The attacker utilize AI to make the existing attack more efficient. As a defender, we should utilize AI for making our security measure more efficient.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for joining this event. So today's event is adapting your cybersecurity strategy in the age of AI. And as you know, we are living in an age where AI is very prevalent in the way we work and in our daily life. So we want, cybersecurity attackers has been leveraging AI, and we want to know why we're exactly here. And this event is to understand about cybersecurity strategy. To set the stage for our discussion, I'm going to do an introduction of myself first, and then I will pass on to our very, 4 expert speaker who is cybersecurity in the field for a long time. So for me, I'm actually a cybersecurity recruiter, and I've been doing recruitment for 10 years in APAC as well as Japan. So I focus also on AI sector these days because it's very high demand. So maybe I'll move to Luke.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to do Jiko Shokai, but I'll try. My name is Luke, and originally I'm from the United States. First of all, just thanks everyone for joining us here today. And as was mentioned, AI is obviously becoming a really critical area. I'm currently working in Rakuten as part of our cybersecurity defense department, and I oversee our strategy management group. And so with that, obviously over the past several years, AI has become a critical area. For myself, I would just say my main area has been as a program and project manager, and so I help to see the ways in which we're trying to implement AI in new ways. It's still a very developing area, and that makes it really interesting, but it also makes it kind of changing day to day. Some other things about myself. So I guess besides this, and one of the areas I see AI particularly being influencing is with nonprofits, which is another one of my passion areas, which is trying to find ways in which we can both empower those people who are in difficult situations to be able to use technology as a way to help us improve the lives of other peoples in third world and developing countries. And I'll pass it to our next.
Thank you very much, Luke. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this event. So my name is Lalatiana, but just call me Lala. It's easier to remember. And as for me, I've been first in Japan now for 13 years, and with lots of experience both in France and in Japan. Like Luke, I've been also in the project program delivery management, both in security, privacy, and infrastructure. And now working at Bayer, the pharmaceutical company, as a cybersecurity officer in Japan, where I would say the front end of any security-related matters with legal, etc. So now, as Luke well mentioned, we are in this AI era where, business just wants to do things. Oh, AI is so cool, let's go with that. But without having the security awareness, definitely companies can just be jeopardized by this technology, this powerful technology. That's why we are here to just bring our insights and hopefully sharing with you guys everything related to AI. With that, I will just hand over to Nakamura-san. So Nakamura-san, over to you.
Thank you, Lara-san. Thank you for joining this event. My name is Yu Nakamura. So please let me introduce my career. So after working for the IT department in the gigantic service company and the security vendor for over 15 years, now I'm an independent consultant, an individual consultant in the cybersecurity domain. So one of my big tasks is IT analyst and IT researcher on the cybersecurity domain. One of my interesting topic is, of course, AI. So now I think that Japanese company tend to try to implement AI on their business, but they are much struggling. So today, I would like to share my expertise based on my research and analysis to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, can you hear me? My name is Sachiko HASUMI, and thank you for joining. I am advocating human-centric cybersecurity, as you might know. And why? Because people process technologies, and we tend to focus on technology. Even though we are discussing about AI, that seems to be our technologies, but the process governance is also important, and humans are also important. I believe that, after all, we are the one who hold the key to our cybersecurity, not technologies. Of course, technologies are important, but I always say people need to do something with a process that is automated and helped by AI. So today I want to add like some different perspective, not only from technology, but also from human side. And nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. So since this is actually an open and informal discussion, so we won't do any long presentation. So maybe I'll start off with a question, and let's start answering some burning question everybody might have. So over the last 2 to 3 years, how has AI agentic system been changing the IT security threat landscape? And what's the biggest change you experience? So maybe I will pass it to Nakamura-san.
Okay, so on my research, I found the characteristic AI utilized attack. I'll show you 2 examples. So one, the malware utilized with AI, that 80 to 90% the attack process was automated, was found. The second is that the attacker who has already breached the network of the targeted organization use the external chatbot to generate the attack command to breach the network more deeply, right? This means that the attacker utilize AI to make the existing attack more efficient. So we should, as a defender, we should utilize AI for making our security measure or security operation more efficient, like attackers do.
So anything to add from,
I can just add maybe, but also from my experience and adding what Nakamura-san said, in my previous experience and also current one, unfortunately, the phishing rates for employees have been drastically increased. Failure rates, because maybe 6 years ago, we were saying that, hey, Japan will never be targeted due to the language that was being unique. And nowadays, with the AI, you can see that almost emails are perfect. So I could see when we do some simulation phishing email in Japanese, it's unfortunately chaotic because people panicking and attackers would use this AI to just lure people. So I would say that's one of the biggest change I could see. I could have seen. And the second thing also is the how can you say that? Governance. So with AI, people just are doing things arbitrarily, just downloading some unapproved tools, etc. So now the senior management, also the governance, we are trying to tight the policy procedures, etc. So one of the biggest things I have also seen in my current and previous experiences. Yeah, that's it on my side.
Okay. So how many of you use AI right now? Can you? And how do you use AI? You talk to AI normally, right? You do the conversation with them. Imagine that attackers are doing the same. This is how they are making a malware. They are making a phishing. So they are doing a conversation to create and attack us. So that is how the cybersecurity has changed. It goes beyond IT. It goes beyond technologies because it's not going to come from firewall. It doesn't need anything. It just needs to have a very good language which can create no matter what language is. I can say that create phishing in Japanese and then I can give full details of the company and that's it. So this is how AI has changed the landscape of cybersecurity.
Yeah, I think that's actually really highlights one of the main aspects towards AI that a lot of the general public at least doesn't recognize. When you're working with an AI chatbot, what you're putting in may actually just be words, but actually how it's being interpreted is actually this is code that is then being executed. It is a script that's basically being run potentially on your production environments and things like that. And so that's where we get the opportunity where it's not just hackers actually are being able to use your AI chatbots or things like that, your generative AI, as a means to try to attack you. Essentially, every single user of your platform potentially becomes a hacker. That's where we get some cases that have come up recently where it's somebody even not intending to use your platform for the wrong way may ask your AI chatbot or your system in a way and get wrong information that then they might end up suing your company about. And I think those risks are really what has started to come out, is that there's this opportunity where it's going to come out and produce things that you're really not in your control anymore as a company. And that's what we're starting to see and how we can manage that.
That's interesting. And actually, I have also a question regarding Japanese company compared to global company. I mean, now that we have so many, AI mistakes that we have done from a user point of view, maybe you can explain, anyone can explain why, or share some comparison that you have seen in terms of the level of protection with global as well as local company.
So talking about the deep fake, so as Lara-san said that there is a myth. So Japanese has a language barrier, right? So we Japanese have the unique intonation or accent in the writing Japanese or the speaking Japanese, right? But the currently the attackers, they're using the deepfake break the barrier. But most of the Japanese company don't believe this fact. So they did not catch up the security measurement they have to implement rapidly.
So how many of you work for Japanese companies? And how many of you work for global companies? I guess that's it. So if you work in both environment, you know what difference, right? One is kind of very Japanese, I would say, not like a lot of bureaucracies are there. So when to protect something, it takes a while. And then by the time we finished protecting, the attackers are finished their attack because they don't care. The point here is that attackers don't care about internal politics, internal excuses, internal bureaucracies. They just attack. They just want to get what they want. And they are really looking at how slow your judgment is, how your decision is. Then that opens up windows of opportunities. And I would say that some global companies are also bureaucratic, but what matters is the speed. When you are being attacked or you are being under attack, then we need to think like attackers. How are they going to attack you? Using AI or using whatever? They do whatever. But you need to prepare that. You cannot have excuse. You have to be defend. You have to defend no matter what. That is what I think.
Thank you. And yeah, interesting insight. Maybe let's talk about, blue team versus red team. Yeah, so for the impact with AI on blue team and the impact versus red team, for blue team, we've seen that there is a bit of like AI tools. That is it better for AI to be introduced for a blue team system, and then versus like, and then also the red team's perspective as well. So maybe for Luke, we'd like you to. Thanks.
Yeah, I think this is a kind of smooth follow from the last part that we just came from, which is the fact that, yeah, attackers are using AI, and that's basically the facts behind it. And they're doing so at a really incredible rate. In fact, in December, just from Stanford, they did a competition basically against 9 very highly trained hackers versus an AI. And AI basically at $18 per hour within maybe I think it was 7 hours in total was able to completely hack and outperform 9 of the other professional hackers was competing against. And this is basically just showing that they can do things at scale in a way that we weren't capable of doing before when it comes to cybersecurity. And so for not implementing AI as also part of our own processes when it comes to cybersecurity, we're naturally just not going to be able to keep up with the attacks that are coming. And as was mentioned, our attackers who are out there, they don't really care about our processes, our bureaucracy, and things like that. And they don't have to even be right all the time. They just need to be right once in order for them to be able to have a successful attack against us that essentially will potentially bring down our companies. And that's what makes it really difficult for us in this current age. That being said, blue team, okay, we don't need to fearmonger the entire time, but yeah, blue team, basically, there are obviously, because when you think of cybersecurity from a technology perspective, it's basically just another area of IT. And so any of the other benefits that we're starting to see with AI as far as being able to generate, data aggregation or analyze different behaviors, it can also do that the same thing for many ways for cybersecurity. Although it still seems quite in development right now, and we're still starting to see some of the progresses from it. That being said, that really is the direction that I think more and more companies are feeling like they need to move towards, is basically how do we find these use cases. And the other part we mentioned, red teaming, which actually is really kind of fun. You can actually go to different sites and try this. Whenever you get a guardrail that basically says, this doesn't go or doesn't apply with us or something, that's basically the system basically trying to push back against you. And that's a way that essentially that you can test and see what hacking actually looks like in today's age. So really what we have discovered now with a lot of our new areas for AI red teaming is basically how do we have people who can create automations that will be able to test the limits of where possibilities might be. That our AI systems may work in a way that we didn't anticipate them, or may do things that a normal human being may not do on their own. And so it's really becoming a really interesting area for us in cybersecurity is to see these new areas open up for us.
Yeah, so let's talk about Mystic. Back to the first question, the first topic that we talk about. If you had to warn companies about one security shortcut, they should never take. Without naming names, what kind of security mistake you have seen company make? Yeah, anyone from the, speak.
Yeah, I think I can just introduce first. So what I've seen, really related to the first question is, and this is maybe also the current situation I'm facing right now, is that one of the shortcuts or mistakes is just trusting blindly without verifying the source. So, for example, downloading untrustworthy tools or non-approved tools from your company, definitely because business said, hey, I really want to use this one to make my business successful, fine. But the time, we all, I think most of us know the latest 3 past years of, the Samsung case where data has been leaked. And I can also talk about the other incidents. And unfortunately, in business, they are not aware, so they just don't care about security, just want to make profits. That won't be work in the future, because when the data are leakage, in terms of legal, etc., you can have really, really heavy fines for that. So, yeah, just don't trust. Always be compliant with your company legals, and always verify. This is really the thing I would also recommend, definitely.
I will add. So, I've been asking you a lot of questions. So I'm guessing that you are also expecting me to ask another question. So let me see. So if you were to describe AI, like picture yourself with AI, how do you picture? Above, same level, or below? Most people think that AI is just like another tool or something like, ask, but actually they are much more intelligent and cleverer than us, and certainly me. And so we need to think how we can take advantage of them. Also that we need to change our mindset. What does it mean? If we keep thinking that they are just a servant to us, then we will never take full advantage of AI. And the other day, I was looking at some videos, which was quite interesting. If you look at the past, it's a computer. If we are looking at present, it's AI. So if we are looking at future, what would be? People are scared of losing a job because they cannot redesign their job, but the job itself are not going to disappear. They are just being redesigned. So we need to reset our mindset. So one thing that company make mistake is that they are stuck in the past. They cannot change their mindset. AI security goes beyond technologies. It goes beyond process. It stays with humans. So if we cannot change our mindset, then we are always under attack and we are always scared. And insecurity, fear doesn't mean anything. We have to realize what is going on right now. With that fear, we have to face a reality and the future and change our mindset. That's it.
Any other comments to add on from the speaker side? No? Yeah.
Yeah, I think both previous comments were quite valid. If I look at some of the challenges we have, we've always had it in cybersecurity is usually we're not great at communicating, which is strange that we're here on a panel. But with that, it's kind of like a lot of times, if we look at IT particularly AI as an IT issue solely, that really, there are some legitimate aspects to it, but in a lot of ways, it really does come to the way in which we're going to be communicating with each other from a security to a business side. When business is pushing ahead, yes, it's because we recognize there's some real significant business value opportunities that exist through the use of AI. But with that, we also are trying to communicate and understand what the risks might be along with that. And I think that's actually how we break down a lot of the fears that we have is if we can really talk with each other and understand what are the potential use cases for us, how do we want to use it, how can it help us as a company, rather than jumping ahead and trying to think of any potential idea that might exist. That helps us to really think through, okay, what might be the risks that might come along with us using it for that? And do those risks actually justify what we want to do and use it for? And that's really where we're trying to push is, I mean, you might call it governance, but a lot of times it's just working between business side and also security and understand how can we actually find the best way to make this work in a way that will do so in a responsible way. And that's where we actually see some good use cases coming forward that allows us to really like adjust and use it in a responsible way, I feel like.
Thank you. Yeah, so back to back to Hasumi's conversation on, serious breaches when, on the employee with shared sensitive data. So, how can companies strike a right balance between empowering powerful AI tools versus ensuring sensitive data remain secure and compliant? From your experience, what governance model or technical control have worked in place? Yeah, so maybe I will give the stage to anyone who wants to answer.
So based on my research, the companies that use AI more efficient has a good guideline or best practice for utilizing AI in their companies. But among the public document of the AI best practice guideline, the Tokyo Metropolitan Governance issued a good public document about this. So if you have not checked it, please check it. And in addition to that, I was impressed that company. The company create and provide the employees a very convenient chatbot created by the company, right? So under the situation, the employees tend to use the original chatbot rather than the external public chatbot. So that prevents employees from leaking the confidential data to the outside. So you can imagine that the chatbot that is created by the organization more useful. The chatbot, external, public and external chatbot, less useful. Which can you use? The answer is simple. I think that it is very difficult condition, but the Japanese company try to create the more convenient chatbot under the restriction like a cost and human resources, something like that.
Yeah, so in terms of control, technical control, what we are doing now, because again, related to what we've said earlier and what I've said earlier, lots of people just download, this unapproved AI tools and trying to make things. But so we did have lots of, unfortunately, red flag in our monitoring tools. And what we will do next, of course, with that, impacted business, is trying to analyze all the URLs that have been, used and making decisions whether or not we will block, actually blocking the URLs in terms of, for example, for project management, Wave, making sure that if not used, we will just block. So, and it's not only for AI, but yeah, it's really important to really block those unapproved tools. So I know it's, lots of companies have known definitely ChatGPT. This public one is no way. So yeah, and it's wherever. I do have some networks. Unless you do have your internal, of course, AI, but it's in my recommendation, it's not a good thing to allow this public ChatGPT, for example, service to be opened and getting access from the company. So yeah, so blocking the necessary URLs will be a good control I've seen and I'm seeing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope, if you're not in cybersecurity, this is kind of some of the pain points that we're working through is whenever something new comes, it's really hard for us to know how to handle it. A lot of times, our knee-jerk reaction might be like we want to stop or prevent or keep you guys, developers or others from using certain ways. When we do it from a good place and heart, we want to make sure we keep the company safe. I think from us, like a really difficult balance is often how do we also then enable the business to be able to do it. And that's where when we talk with why are they using shadow IT or why are they doing, it's because a lot of times, not from a bad place, but because they want to get something done. Like they have to have something delivered by a certain period of time, or the current tools we have available are not sufficient to meet their needs. And I think that's where it's often, some of the main things when it comes to controls is trying to help educate our development teams or even our users in general on the potential risks that exist within AI. And thankfully, as mentioned, there's a lot of good frameworks now that have already been created that help us understand what these are, like the OWASP LLL Top 10, which really or just a quick top 10 issues that you really need to be aware of and things like that for most cases. And you can, even in a small size business or regardless of how large, you can look at what these are and try to look how can we implement or which one of these might be at risk to. I think that's a really good starting point for companies to think, okay, like what's a simple first step we can take that's going to be most effective and help enable while also bringing back any of those major risks we need to avoid.
So you mentioned that you use AI. So my question to you is that how do you balance your productivity and your protection? It's the same for the company. How do you protect yourself while you're trying to achieve whatever? Say that your kids are crying and they're asking you to download something. How can you protect yourself? That's a question you need to ask. And I normally answer, you need to know how to set the limit. Where is your boundary between you and AI, you and technologies? This is a question you always need to ask. Whenever you are trying to do something, you have to stop and then ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I crossing that boundary or am I within the boundary? Certainly, passing sensitive information is not within the boundary. So it's a simple rule. Are you crossing the boundary that was created by the company or by your family or by yourself? If so, then you need to ask yourself again, is it good to cross?
Interesting. Actually, I'm from the business side, and to be honest, this is really pain to hear that a lot of productivity tool is banned. So how do you actually reply to the business people, if we are really eager to use, these tools which can effectively help the business, increase profit, then, maybe you can advise security expert here, how do you actually come across and explain to business people?
I can answer maybe on my part, and maybe most of you working in security fields maybe also aware, or you do have this on your company. But I would say normally companies should have already, I would say, develop some internal AI tools, right? To, of course, thrive and improve the business. So we, for example, using these internal AI tools with the framework like ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. So once it's implemented internally, it's okay. So one of my recommendation I'm always, given to give to my business teams is use your internal approved tools. And in case, but this is where in terms of security awareness, it's not sufficient. It doesn't suffice because I've already seen this one saying, yeah, internal tools are really good, but not enough, especially for developer. Okay, nice. Well, yeah, we still having the risk of just raise this exception, but it's really once you will take the risk for this exception, as actually Sachiko mentioned, crossing the line, will you be, in terms of awareness, responsible, accountable if something you should know exactly if you do that, you will be responsible if you take this risk as an exception to take the external AI tools. So yeah, security is really matters of everyone. So this is my my insight in this one.
And if really mistake is made, who is the person who is held responsible?
No, of course, in security, personally, if there's an issue, we always say, oh yeah, this is the CISO or CEO responsible. But honestly, as a security person, everyone should be responsible. And again, security is a matter of everybody from the senior management to the physical security person or whoever. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, I would say in that way, this is not really an issue so much that goes just to AI. This is actually talking much more about corporate culture and just like what is your company's culture when it comes to security in general. Like AI actually, you can ask it to create a really great policy or something that says this is how we want to use AI effectively. But if your company doesn't actually follow policies or doesn't think that highly of security, no one's really going to follow it. Same thing, you can say these are the permitted tools and these are not permitted tools. If you don't have any way to enforce it and your company doesn't really care, people are going to do it anyway in that regard. And so I think it's really in this way, and we're actually in a way, AI is helping us because people have seen the issues and the risks that come with it. And this is actually in some ways given security an opportunity for us to try to make these more prevalent and aware to our companies. But I think at the heart of it is still how do we kind of build that culture within the company and help them understand what their issues might be.
Yes, very nice insight. Thank you very much. So we're talking about cooperation, and maybe we'll talk a new topic regarding startup versus large corporation. Considering the two differences with the resources and existing infrastructure, how do you view the risk differentiation between these two? Anyone from the speaker can comment.
So talking about the large corporation, so some people have the good IT and security literacy, and some people don't have the good IT and literacy and security literacy, right? So if the internal chatbot, the company lets all the employees use the internal chatbot or external chatbot, some people use this chatbot correctly. Some people use this chatbot incorrectly, right? So if you would like to have the internal chatbot to implement all the employees, so you have to take the phase-by-phase implementation. So first, you have to let the people with good IT and security literacy use the chatbot and accumulate the know-how and how to use this chatbot for the business use, and let the next step expand the usage to the more wide range of the employees, right? So this is a phase-by-phase implementation the large corporation should have take. I think that the startup company is a very small number of people. Yeah. They have the equal IT or security literacy, right?
I can add to that. So, what the difference between startup and large companies? What the difference? Can you think about? Some are same, some are different, but impact on the society is different. Say that one big company is hacked and one small startup is hacked. It's a different impact on the society. That is a big difference to start with. Of course, startup and big company have to secure themselves. Again, they say the responsibility. So what is responsibility? Why people are paid so much? Because they need to take responsibility. This means that every person has certain responsibility, and depending on the impact, depending on what consequences you have, you need to take responsibility. If you cannot take that responsibility, you shouldn't do it, because it will always cause some damage, and that damage needs to be recovered by someone. And they are always humans, right? So I always say responsibility and risk tolerance go together. People with a higher responsibility must have higher risk, not tolerance, but they can say yes to many, many things because they have more responsibility. But like me, like low level, I cannot say a lot of yes because I cannot take responsibility. If you don't know, if you are responsible, then you are not taking responsibility. So I would say that large companies must realize what kind of impact they have on the society, and they must take responsibility. This means that they have to be serious about security because they will have a huge impact.
Very interesting insight. I'm going to ask the last question. So last question is more on focusing on deployment model. Yep. Is it okay? Yeah. So like cloud versus local, given these industries' recent focus on data residency and control, do you see a clear security advantage in utilizing cloud AI solution with robust enterprise control, or any noticeable trend towards on-premise or local LLM, which is back to, the chatbot or technical? Yeah, please.
This is my personal opinion, and insight maybe for those who are in this panel discussion. So, yeah, nowadays definitely most of the companies just want to go to the cloud, right? Not only for, it's also for the costs, definitely reducing costs. I would say it also with in terms of infrastructure, easier to handle. However, from a security standpoint, this is where I'm a little bit kind of reluctant is in terms of security, if it's not properly configured, definitely there will be some issues. It will be chaotic. So misconfiguration it's always a human error, I would say. Recently, I could see lots of news saying that due to misconfiguration of the clouds, especially in the, I would say the IAM, identity access management stuff, especially where the misconfiguration is done, lots of leakage, lots of data are just being sent in the dark web, etc. So in terms of compliance and data protections, it's a mess. So cloud definitely we need to skill up for this part. I'm pretty sure. I would say that I do have it's a personal opinion, a preference to make a hybrid, still a hybrid, because in terms of cyber threat actor, I mean, it's not only for, it's AI, we are talking about AI, but in terms of security, if you don't have any backup, it's really a mess. So I do prefer having a backup in a kind of on-premise offsite, like the previous old former data center, rather than stocking things in the cloud. But of course, if you do make the right configuration in the cloud, it should be definitely a good thing, but with the proper security. But for that, if you don't have the skill, it will be definitely a challenge, and we can struggle with that.
Any other comments from?
Regarding of the cloud service utilized with AI, so we have to care about the supply chain risk. So the most of the cloud service offer their service with AI currently. The Japanese companies try to use these services on the for the business purpose, but I think that they don't much care about the data resiliency. So the cloud service vendor with AI is increasing, I think, but some company is not aligned with the security standard, the international security standard. So the Japanese company have to have the good eyes on the how their data treated correctly by the cloud service vendors more tightly, right?
Thank you so much. And this will be a closing statement. And I just want to ask for expert speaker, what is one practical advice you'd like to share with the crowd for a takeaway? Yeah, in terms of AI and security.
I can start with my one practical advice, and it's again related to what we just said earlier, but the AI now definitely is a powerful technology. We can't deny it. I think most of the company now really rely on AI to build lots of wonderful stuff. So I would say that just engage the security team with business team dealing with all this AI technology, and because as of today, we have already seen that security is just a silo team, but no, we should work together to thrive this powerful technology.
Mine is quite similar. Yes, please communicate. You can talk to it. A lot of times I feel like, as mentioned, cybersecurity, we're often off on our side. We're our silo or something like that. But communication, I think, is really the key that we're going to see here that's going to help us. And that's because a lot of the main things we've also talked about, I think, bridge from that. Like good governance comes with good communication, good understanding of what you want to do with security, and what you want to do with AI comes as a result of that. And actually finding out ways for us to be able to address problems comes with it. And I think it also goes, similar to the same way as how can security there also inform people. It's great you're all here today. That's really valuable. But on our side as well, it's how do we communicate to our companies and to the rest of the community, what can AI do and how do you use it responsibly and effectively? Because at the end of the day, it's not we want to stop. We can't really, because our business, we need to use AI effectively in order to compete. But there are ways in which we can do it and that will actually help, and there will be ways that can actually harm. So that's what we need to do to make it more effective and move forward.
Okay, I go next. So, what do attackers need to get what they want? They only need two things: weakness, vulnerabilities, and exploit. AI is going to make it easier, faster, to exploit those vulnerabilities. Vulnerability doesn't mean technologies. It doesn't mean process. It also means humans. When you are tired, you become vulnerable. When you are in hurry, you are vulnerable. You become the target. Remember, technologies cannot stop everything. Can stop something, but cannot stop everything. Process governance can stop something, but not everything. After all, it's up to your judgment. When you are tired, when you are in doubt, then think twice, because you will be the next target, because you are weak. Thank you.
I'm hesitant to after the Hasumi-san's comment, right? Because I think that one best practice that we should use the AI and to learn. So as Hasumi-san said that we have many boundaries. My boundaries, my family's boundaries, my organization's boundary. So each boundary has a different impact on the society, right? So if we use the AI more efficiently on the business purpose, we should use AI on the family or the personal use, right? And share, accumulate the good experience or the bad experience and communicate with the colleagues and use it to use the internal or external chatbot on the business purpose, right?
Thank you so much for your insight. And we'll move now to Q&A. Any question for this? You can just shout out your answers. I mean, your questions. Well,
hello, I hope I'm audible. So I have one question. It's basically regarding the direction of the industry specific to AI security. So I think so far in the talk we discussed AI security from the lens of three things. One is the data compliance and data leakage, where an employee or someone working within the company uploads some documents to the chatbot, which is confidential. The second is AI-backed security, AI-backed hacking. So for example, some hackers actually get access to not access to, they use AI to make more stronger and more sophisticated attacks, like the present hackers, but with the help of AI. And the last one is AI misalignment. Like AI becomes so smart that it does something which is not under our control. And even with red team and blue team, you won't be able to catch it because AI has become sentient enough to actually have phenomena like collusions or maybe like sandbagging. So right now, what exactly is the focus of the industry? Like, is industry just focusing on the data compliance part right now, or are they focusing on mitigating hackers who are using AI, or actually their focus is also on AI misalignment? Like that. I hope my question was clear.
okay. Anyone?
I'll just say it's all of those, and that's actually what makes it a bit hard. It's basically, I mean, yeah, like as you're all aware, AI has basically infiltrated every aspect of how we work and in many ways how we're living now. And so with that, I mean, yeah, for security, it's not just how do we defend, it's how do we empower, how do we use it ourselves in security, how do we educate, so every single aspect of it is basically now we're trying to think through how do we support in those different ways. I think some of the things you mentioned, yeah, it's more immediate. It's how do we, and I think maybe to make it more practical, depending on where your company is at, you know, where are you at and where can you need to start with? I mean, for some things, it's you need to start with, you know, just working through your company and how you're planning to use AI. But if you're particularly on a larger organization, maybe if you're really under threat of being attacked, then yes, you need to start thinking of how you can implement AI as part of your other controls that you're using. And with that, maybe like looking at how potentially you can start improving to address like potential like use of AI to improve your blue teaming, or how you can use it as part of your red teaming, things like that. So I think it kind of is on a case by case, but at the same time, we're trying to address many of the issues that you just raised.
Yep. Someone from the back. Yeah. Yeah, please.
All right, thank you. So, thank you first of all to all the panels. It's been really insightful conversation. I can say we had it. I really like the approach, Lalatiana. You had it with regards to the corporate companies having their own AI chatbots, I can say, or internal tools, which is been really necessary from the privacy concerns. Also, we can mitigate that. That's I can say with regards to the corporate companies. But how about the small enterprises? Because Japan have a lot of small companies and enterprises, and the business from that angle is really necessary because of the complexity on the manpower as well as the complexity on the budget, I can say. So what do you recommend? How can they work with this approach? What should they implement just to secure them from the outside attacks, as well as from the privacy concerns also? How can they validate the things?
Thank you. So
Thank you.
yeah, I do not have a kind of experience with the small. I've always worked for the big one, but from what I can see and my also based on my network discussion and what I've seen through, I mean, I would say in general speaking, for those type of enterprise, and maybe my also fellows can add, but first of all, I would say implement the basics controls. That's, I mean, we do have, especially with AI now, as Luke and Nakamura-san mentioned, we do have in Japan, especially those AI framework, the OWASP, etc. And NIST also, I'm pretty sure they do have this framework. So try to implement the basic control. I learned from my previous companies, and first of all, basic is really the most important things to do. And after that, yeah, in the future, when hopefully I know the budget is another topics, but yeah, once you will prove that say security does have the place, yeah, and budget will come, you can expand. But first of all, yeah, the basics, and it's also, I mean, yeah, valuable also for the AI. It's also for AI. So yeah, basic is the most important controls.
Sure, thank you.
We have another.
Hi, my name is Kim. I'm working at AMD related to AI security. And as you know, cybersecurity is the one thing, and the AI security is also the different thing. And when I learn more about like actual like attack case and threat, like AI security and cybersecurity is truly important. That's what I feel. And when you're working in your company, what kinds of like actual threat or risk you're facing when you are like working at a company? Like I wonder like what's really actually happening at the field. Thank you.
You mean what type of
Like,
threats we have encountered recently?
Yeah, like a risk or like a problem happened related to like cybersecurity or AI security related?
So recently, and also previous experience, unfortunately, I've seen lots of deepfakes. Previous experiences as well, we have been facing the CEO's deepfake messages, which was really, really freaking out, to be honest. So this is one of the most thing. The second thing also I've seen previous experiences is like the Samsung, to be honest. Developers put their passwords in clear in the, unfortunately it's true, it's a pity, but developers doesn't have this DevSecOps mindset, unfortunately. They just passed all the codes, trying to make just please improve the code and try to do what I want to do. And unfortunately, same, I've seen this one with my cyber threat defense fellows that it has been sent on the dark web. So yeah, this is unfortunately the things we've seen a lot. So with that, we are trying to, as I mentioned, tight all these guidelines of all this policy, but all these technical controls to block any unnecessary URLs and so forth.
Thank you.
Yep, we have another question here.
Yeah, thank you for the panel. We are just moving in our company from generative AI to agentic AI. We have been building, we have policy, competence, culture, and so on. So we think now it's the right time. But what is the mistake I should avoid? What is the most common mistake? Because I think this is a big leap. What do you think?
So that compare AI and agentic AI, so we have to think about the overlap of the agentic AI. So I think the agentic AI's definition is autonomous operation instead of the employees, right? But if the agentic AI overrun, we cannot imagine how severe the impact is, right? So we have to implement a fail-safe policy on the agentic AI, like OT environment. So you know that the factory environment, something like that.
Maybe, yeah, something I've also seen a lot of recently pushed is trying to, for example, use agentic AI for creating someone's own like personal assistant or like basically be a copy of themselves. I think one thing with agents, and this goes, I think also Akmura-san was mentioning, was it's the permissions that you set for it. For example, if I want, a developer basically doing like an agent developer basically doing the same thing a normal developer would do, I mean, we make a lot of assumptions with how an individual human is going to act. And so we make assumptions on how an agent is going to act. But a lot of times what we don't think is how fast it's going to act, and it may exhaust some things or do things that you might not actually assume a human might do. And I think those are things that we make a lot of assumptions about when it comes to agents, where it's like we don't really know exactly how they're going to respond. And we might fall into traps like that as well. And I think those would be some concerns to consider.
So thank you very much for your participation. I think today we'll end the session. Let's have quick catch up. If you want to have a networking session, we can go outside. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.